Welcome to Missing, Mystery and Murder. It's 18th of June 2001 in East Tilbury, Essex, England. Danielle Jones said a cheerful goodbye to her mum before she set off to get the bus for school as she would normally do. Only she didn't arrive that day and hasn't been seen since. So what happened to Danielle Jones? Is she alive? Is she dead? Her body's never been found. She's never been found, but she is presumed dead. Dead and missing. Linda, her mum, described Danielle as a shy, quiet, and slightly naive young lady. Young girl, teenager. Tony and Linda were frantic that day when they realised Danielle hadn't arrived at school. The police were called and the local community joined in, all searching and looking around East Tilbury for Danielle. This really wasn't like her. She'd always come home or let her parents know where she was. Everyone was concerned about where she was or where she could be, including her Aunt Debbie, who is the sister of Tony, her dad. Only Debbie's husband, Stuart Campbell, didn't seem too concerned about her going missing, which was odd. Her uncle-in-law just seemed a little bit too chill about her going missing, which raised suspicions. East Tilbury is a pretty tight-knit community, sort of plonked in the countryside, not too far from a big fort built by Henry VIII, and also the River Thames. You probably all heard of the River Thames. The houses and the community was originally built for families of people who worked at the Barter Shoe Factory. So people tend to look out for each other and look out for each other's children, as you have to pass several houses on your way in and out of East Tilbury. So, people are likely to see children as they're walking about, playing out. So yeah, people keep an eye out for each other there. Several people came forward to say that they had seen Danielle with a man that morning. One woman who came forward had seen a blue Ford Transit van, which is exactly the same as Campbell's work van in the cul-de-sac where she lived. And he was seen talking to a teenager with long blonde hair who fitted Danielle's description. Suspicion instantly fell onto Stuart Campbell. And on the 23rd of June 2001, they arrested Stuart Campbell, 5 days after the disappearance of Danielle Jones. Now, the police said they did want to arrest him earlier, but they were worried that they could put Danielle at risk if she was still alive, if she was locked up somewhere. So that's why they left it so long. I don't know, I personally thought that the first 24 hours were the most vital. After 48 hours, that it's unlikely that you'll find the person who's missing, especially when it comes to children. I can't begin to imagine how agonizing it was and still is for Linda and Tony and Danielle's, brothers and family. Tony, Danielle's dad, had even gone around to Debbie, his sister's house, and Campbell's house that day to see if they had heard from Danielle. There was no answer, but he did look through the window and see Campbell's camera, photographic taking equipment left out, which in hindsight he thought was quite odd. I'm not actually sure if the police had informed Tony and Linda and the family of Campbell's past at this point? I'm sure they hadn't. And yes, he had a past. Only a year before Daniela being abducted and going missing, a young girl was abducted by Campbell, and his wife knew about this. Apparently, he had received a suspended sentence for abducting this young girl, but he told his wife that it was a misunderstanding and the case had been dropped. So how does that work? How do you tell your wife, your husband, hi honey, I'm home. Oh, by the way, I've been arrested for abduction of a young girl. Misunderstanding, total misunderstanding. And then what does she reply? Oh, that's fine, as long as it was just a misunderstanding. Would you like a cup of tea, dear? Just what on earth? His dark, creepy, pervy ways were always on the lurk. In 1987, Campbell approached two young girls, one 15 and one 16, claiming to be a photographer, and invited them to his place. Only he insisted that they arrive wearing their school uniform. Once they arrived, he took pictures of them on his bed and got one of them to wear stockings, and she was topless. Only 4 months before Daniela's disappearance, he had approached two teenagers in a local gym, and he was pretending to be from an agency which he called, creepily, Cinderella's, and he even gave them a creepy business card. Also, he had met Debbie, Daniela's aunt, when she was only 15 at a local swimming pool, and he was 23. The worst part of this is, well, no, it's not the worst part. The worst part is the abduction, the killing her, and not telling the family where her body is. But he watched her grow up from a baby. He was close to them all. They described him as a great, uncle-in-law. Daniela was even a bridesmaid at her aunt's wedding to Campbell. Although Daniela's mum would not have expected this to happen in a million years, she did begin to notice, and looking back in hindsight, that as Daniela started senior school and become a teenager, that Campbell became more interested in her. He would even pick her up from school and claim that he was in the local area and drop her off home. He set a phone up for her, and he kept the PIN number, which police later on found. If that's not creepy, I don't know what is. Campbell's alibi was that he was in a different area called Rayleigh when Daniela had disappeared. Oh, well, if that's what you're saying, we're just gonna let you off. To also throw police off the scent, he showed them a text that he said Daniela had sent to him, and it read in capitals, "Thanks for being so nice. You're the best uncle ever!" ! "Tell mum I'm sorry. Love you loads, Dan," with 3 kisses. Though investigations by the police into the signals being sent off by the phones, his phone and Daniela's phone, proved that they came off of the same mast, and the text from Daniela's phone was sent in the same area as, received on his phone, putting him in the place of where she went missing. Daniela's mum also said that Daniela never wrote in capital letters. She always wrote in lowercase. Police found evidence of creepy notes that Campbell had left Daniela when she'd gone away on holiday with her family. See, he had a key, So he let himself in. And these notes would say things like, "Hi princess, missing you, hope you're having a great time, let me know when you're back." And he'd also text her the same kind of messages. Creepy. Police also found a diary which mainly revolved around Daniella's life, which again further proved his obsession with his niece. A bag was found belonging to Campbell, which the newspapers labelled a sex bag, and this contained handcuffs, stockings, underwear, swimwear, all kinds of weirdo things that weirdos like to keep. On a pair of white stockings, Daniella's DNA was found. Spots of blood. Computer experts had also found child porn downloaded onto Campbell's computer. Campbell was found guilty of murder and abduction and sentenced to life imprisonment. This was to run concurrently with a 10-year sentence for abduction. The High Court later ruled that Campbell should serve a minimum of 20 years before he could apply for parole, meaning he's set to remain in prison until at least November the 21st, till age 63. Well, it's gone that now, so I don't actually know what's going on with the case at the moment, but it's something I'm looking into. So what turns a man into a monster? According to Campbell's brother, they grew up in a home and an environment filled with violence. Their father would beat their mother daily. He was an extremely violent man and an alcoholic. Campbell also had access to pornographic material which depicted young women on concentration camps being raped and beaten by the guards. Is this what fed or created his dark side? Or was he just born pure evil? Daniella's family and even Campbell's own brother are campaigning under Helen's law to prevent Campbell being released from prison if he does not confess to where Daniella's body is. To this day, Campbell will not give any details on the whereabouts of Daniella's body. It seems to be that he's still trying to keep her to himself in his weird, dark, twisted way. This is his control over the situation and the family still. It's still his way almost of torturing the family and possessing her body. So where is Danielle Jones's body? It's still missing, and her family can't put her to rest. That's all that they want, is to be able to put their daughter to rest in a safe place where she can be at peace. In a week's time, I'm going to attempt to tune in with psychometry to Daniella's pictures and Campbell's pictures and the evidence and the locations that can sometimes mix up the signals. But I'm going to give it a go, and I'm also going to be conducting an EVP session, electronic voice phenomenon. I've had good success with this before, had some great messages come through. So yeah, we're going to give it a go, and I'm going to try and connect in with Daniella. It may work, it may not, and see if we can just pick up any more information of either her whereabouts or what happened on the day that she went missing. So join me in a week's time. I'm going to put a little post up to let you know when that will be happening and when I will be uploading that. Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one, linking in, because you can often pick up the emotions and the feelings of what happened on that event. I know not everyone believes in, you know, spirit and life after death, but you know, hey, just come along and watch. If you have any information, anything at all, please get in touch with Crime Stoppers or, you know, your local police. Anything that you may have seen on that day, or anything you may have heard from other people. You know, the smallest things can sometimes lead to the biggest find. So yeah, anything you have, just get in touch and let us know.